We'll get to our first speaker. He's a cardiologist here in town. It's Dr. Isaac Osborne. And we're going to play a little clip of one of the town hall meetings leading in while he gets ready and comes up here. I think the setup is a couple of weeks ago at a town hall meeting somewhere up north, and this Barack Obama's answering the question about this mother, well, you'll see, it's coming up.
Represents the opposite ends on this spectrum too. I want to talk, if I can, to Jane Sturm, your mother, Hazel Homer,
Yes.
100 years old, and she wanted.
She's 105 now, over 105. But at 100, the doctor had said to her, I can't do anything more unless you have a pacemaker. I said go for it. She said go for it. But the arrhythmia specialist said, no, it's too old. Her doctor said, I'm going to make an appointment because a picture is worth 1,000 words. And when the other arrhythmia specialist saw her joy of life and so on, he said, I'm going for it. So that was over 5 years ago. My question to you is, outside the medical criteria for prolonging life for somebody who is elderly, is there any consideration that can be given for a certain spirit, a certain joy of living, quality of life, or is it just a medical cutoff at a certain age?
We're suggesting, and we're not going to solve every difficult problem in terms of end-of-life care. A lot of that is going to have to be we as a culture and as a society starting to make better decisions within our own families and for ourselves. But what we can do is make sure that at least some of the waste that exists in the system that's not making anybody's mom better, that is loading up on additional tests or additional drugs that the evidence shows is not necessarily going to improve care, that at least we can let doctors know and your mom know that, you know what, maybe this isn't going to help. Maybe you're better off not having the surgery, but taking the painkiller.
Well, hello, how are you? I'd just like to say I'm Dr. Osborne. Here's my birth certificate. I'm a native-born citizen of Texas, and I'm not running for president. Tell you a little bit about myself. One, I'm an internist who does non-invasive diagnostic cardiology, not a cardiologist, but I thank you for that promotion. I'm a graduate of the University of Southern California. I then did my internship up in Santa Barbara at the college and general hospital. I then went back to LA, did a residency in internal medicine. I then did a fellowship in emergency medicine and was the director of the residency training program and the paramedic services for Southwest Los Angeles. I decided to move to Paradise and move to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and there I was director of public health and outpatient clinics, and it was a governmental association. I went into private practice after Hillary's scare scared me to death. I decided to come back to the United States and find out what managed care was all about. I worked as a locum tenens. Locum tenens means here, now. I worked for Kaiser Springfield, Massachusetts. If anybody's worked with Kaiser, you'll learn what managed care is. We had to see 22 patients per day minimum. And if you wanted to have any overtime, you had to get 24-hour in advance permission. I then was director of emergency services at the VA Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. I then went over to Lewiston, Maine. I worked with another Kaiser unit. We were the reference hospital for 3 states, Oregon, Northern California, and Washington State. I then moved back from, as I like to say, from Portland to Portland. I moved from Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine, and worked at Lewiston, Maine, another managed care hospital and organization. I was then recruited down to Kentucky. I got there just in time at Hopkinsville, Kentucky, which is just north of Fort Campbell, and everybody here who's in the military knows about that. It says that it is located in Kentucky. Most of it is in Tennessee, but I got there in time for 9/11 to see the Blackhawks go out at night to protect the United States. So you see, I've had a wide range of experience. Academic setting, private practice, governmental control, public health, and health maintenance organizations. The bottom line I found out is they promise a lot. They promise cradle to grave care. Once you get in, they squeeze you to get the costs out. One, they have limitation of tests. They have limitations of referrals. Twice a year, all the physicians were set down with an administrator. And that person looked at how many tests, whether they were throat cultures, whether they were blood tests, whether they were x-rays, MRIs, and they looked at how many referrals you made. And if you went over their set limit, your pay was deducted. For some reason, however, the administrative arm never was cut. I have some sneaking suspicion that this health care reform will work the same way. I don't know if you know anything about Kaiser Permanente, what it means. Kaiser, a guy by the name of Sidney Garfield, I had to look this up, search real hard. 1933, he decided that he would provide affordable health care in a very depressed economy. And he decided that everybody could self-insure themselves. He charged 15 cents for a year's care. He was contracted, went into a contractual relationship with the LA aqueduct system. They had people that were dying left and right. They went out, they looked at the work site, they made it more safe, they showed them general methods of hygiene and cut the health care costs down, and people enjoyed it. They were then asked to help Kaiser, which was making ships at that time for the Second World War later on. And what happened was, they did so well after the war, Kaiser said, I think I have a good thing going on here. I want you guys to work with us. And the physicians said, we want to maintain our integrity. We will be Permanente. So Kaiser is the insurance and administrative arm. Permanente is the physician arm. When I was there, and I won't tell you about all the battles that they had in between after that nice marriage started, but we were 5 million in the hole. Kaiser brought the physicians together and said, we're taking it out of your pay. And the president got his $1 million bonus. Make no doubt about this. The Obama health care reform is governmental control of health care in the United States. It's a transformation from private care between you and your doctor to socialized care between you and the bureaucrat. I want to go into a little bit of detail here. One, there are 3 organizations that have been set up, and they were one of the organizations, HHS, is already there. But they authorized in that bill that no one read, you remember that? The stimulus